Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I just got back from vacation and I found a nice gift. My friends at Magar and Xvive sent me the new U45D stereo in-ear monitor. This is a wireless in-ear, very compact, and with really interesting performance. Obviously, the price is very competitive, so as a mid to low range in-ear, it offers quality and technical features of a more high-end in-ear. So let's go ahead and see what's inside the box, what we find, and what the technical specs are. Here we are. So we have this nice case that holds everything. In this case, we can basically fit the receiver, the transmitter, the accessory cables, and also our earphones. As you can see, it's made like this. Very compact, well finished, solid with its zipper here. Inside here, we find the various pockets that hold the rest. So let's take it out. This is the receiver where we then plug in our earphones. Actually, wait, we're talking about in-ears now, but this can be used by musicians as an in-ear, so a stage monitor, but also to transfer a signal. So I can transfer, say, to a camera, a camcorder. I need to transfer the sound of a microphone wirelessly. I can use this tool to transfer various types of sounds or various types of audio. So inside we find the transmitter. Here it is. The transmitter, as you can see, is double because this is a stereo in-ear. But it's not just stereo, and I'll explain that later. You can do many things, like having multiple channels with multiple receivers. In short, there are different ways to use this product. Besides this, inside, let's open this little pocket now, and we find the various accessories, which is a split USB cable for charging because this in-ear doesn't have the classic batteries, but has a rechargeable battery inside. So we can basically recharge it easily with any charger that we use for cell phones. The two units. A battery life of 5 hours of continuous use is claimed. Another thing, you can use both the receiver and the transmitter, easier with the transmitter, even while connected to the charger. So it's not like when you connect the charger, it gets turned off or bypassed. Then we have a jack, an XLR to jack adapter, so that if you don't have a mixer with XLR aux outputs, you can use the jack instead. And this is used for the first transmitter, and a mini XLR to jack converter for the second channel of the transmitter. Later I'll show you some images. I'll show you, or rather, maybe while I'm talking right now, you'll see some specific images of this object. Great, let's close our little box and go check it out. Now I'll take some detailed shots so that I can show you. I'll explain how the transmitter and receiver work and what the features are. Technical. Let's go. Well, this U45D is basically an in-ear monitor that the market has been waiting for a while, because the U45 had already become famous for its compactness and its value for money, but the market was asking for a version that could be stereo, and that's basically what was done. So it was presented at this year's NAMM, and then it was launched on the market. Some important notes. This in-ear works on Wi-Fi and uses the 5.8 GHz band. This is very important because the classic 2.4 band is very crowded. So if you're in a live setting with many cell phones or mixers that transmit, or lights that transmit via Wi-Fi, the command's via Wi-Fi, you end up with a major problem, which is interference. By using 5.8, we try, let's say, to eliminate this problem because it's a less used frequency range and therefore theoretically clearer. In fact, using it live, there are no problems. The case, as you can see, is very small. It's made of metal, so it's nice and solid. On the back, it has the classic clip, so you can attach it to your strap or belt. And now let's go see what the features are. On the top, so at the very top, we have the on-off button to turn on the receiver. This is recessed in such a way as to avoid, let's say, turning it on and off unintentionally. Then we go to the fun. On the front, we find two knobs. One is for the volume, so I raise and lower the volume. The other one, however, isn't really a knob, but a button with which, once turned on, I go to search for the frequency I'm interested in. That is, the one that is then also used by the transmitter. We have 6 frequencies available, okay? So technically, if you have your band members using the same type of product, there can be 6 transmitters and 6 receivers. And everyone can work on their own frequency without going and messing up the other musicians. All right, what else do we have? On the left side, we have the port to recharge the receiver. And on the right side, let's see if we can get it in focus. There it is. On the right side, we have this slider where we decide if we want to listen in stereo, the left, the right, or the mix. This is something very interesting that I'm going to explain to you right now. So when I plug in the receiver, I'll show you some images later. The receiver, as we've seen, has 2 XLRs, okay? So I can plug into aux 1, aux 2, pan the signal, so I have a hard left, hard right, and then have a stereo image of my audio. This is very convenient because first of all, I can split the various instruments so I have a cleaner sound and leave in the center, I don't know, the drums and the vocals, but especially for a guitarist or a keyboardist who loves to hear their effects in stereo. If they work with modelers, for example, as far as guitarists are concerned, but also keyboardists obviously, or anyone who wants to hear a stereo effect anyway, this way they'll have the division of the right and left channels so they'll hear perfectly in stereo. The L switch means that I will hear in both earbuds. Just one channel, the left channel in this case, which is the larger transmitter. If I set it to R, I'll only hear the right channel in both earbuds. What does this already tell us? That with a single product, so by purchasing this U45D, I can also work in dual mono. So I have a channel that isn't panned in this case, so a channel A and a channel B. Maybe buy another receiver and have 2 musicians working with a single unit that transmits channel A and channel B. And 2 receivers, so I'll make my own mono mix for what I'm interested in. And the other musician will have another independent mix. And there's also the mix mode. The mix mode basically takes the left channel and the right channel, mixes it for me in mono, and sends it to the 2 earbuds. That's another option. Let's go see how the transmitter is made, as we were saying. We have this object. This is the main transmitter, and this is the second channel. Here we have a mini XLR that can be removed to then go and insert, if we need to, as we said before, the jack. Because maybe I have a mixer that doesn't have an XLR input, so I'll put the jack adapter on, and on the transmitter's XLR, I'll put the other adapter, jack. Okay, this is another interesting option, because in the end, we have everything we need right in the package. Right here in front, we have the power button, a button to manage the level, so line level. Most of the time you'll probably use a line level, or if the signal is very low, you can switch to aux. In this case, you'll have a much higher signal level. Here we have the LED that shows me the battery status. Green means that the battery is okay. When it drops below 30%, the LED turns red, and when it drops below 10%, the LED starts flashing. We also have, below the battery level indicator, a small LED that tells us if we're clipping. If we're clipping, as mentioned before, it means we have a signal that's too high, so maybe we're in aux, let's go back to line, or we have a send that's too high from our mixer or our audio interface, whatever we're using and whatever we want to transmit. The transmitter can also be used on its own, so I can attach just the main transmitter without the additional cable. In this case, I'll put my receiver in L, and I'll have the sound in both earphones of the channel transmitted by this transmitter. Another very interesting feature is the automatic search for the best available frequency. How do you do it? I'll explain it to you for a moment because you have to remember to do one thing. Otherwise, you might just keep pressing and it won't work. So, as we were saying, here we have our transmitter. By clicking here, you see, it changes color. And these are the various frequencies. I turn it off and turn it back on and hold it down for 2 or 3 seconds. It starts flashing. So it's searching. Which of these 6 frequencies is the cleanest? So which one will guarantee me a clearer signal? Once that's done, I turn on the transmitter and I'll go and select the frequency that I'm interested in this case, the red one. So auto scan, which allows me to select and choose the cleanest frequency. Clean, which will guarantee me a better signal. Here, now you see, these 2 green LEDs indicate that 1, the receiver is also charged, and 2, that it's connected to the base. If I disconnect now and change the frequency on my transmitter, click, you see that an LED goes out. And so here it's telling me, watch out, you're not connected to anything. Besides what we've already discussed, there are other interesting features, like the dynamic range of this transmitter and receiver, which is 110 decibels. So we have, let's say, enough room to have a dynamic range and be able to load the transmitter and receiver with signal without the sound going into compression. This is very, very interesting. As we mentioned, it holds a 5-hour charge. So you can do both a sound check and play a 3-hour set list if you want, without any problems at all. 30 meters of coverage. For this though, I'd recommend maybe when you're connecting the transmitter base to the mixer. Usually mixers are always in less than ideal positions. Or there are routers that also transmit mixer commands or even lighting controls. So plugging this directly into the mixer might not be the ideal solution, as some frequency or some interference could end up, let's say, reducing the range of your transmitter as well. In this case, a very simple thing to do is to connect a standard XLR cable to the mixer, maybe 2 or 3 meters long, and bring the transmitter as close as possible to my station. This way, I'll have a completely clean signal without interference, which will allow me to have an operating range with a coverage of about 30 meters, which is more than enough, really, unless you're playing on very large stages, but that's a different story. Another interesting thing to mention is that you can connect 4 receivers to a single transmitter. And what does that mean? It means that whether you have this in stereo or in mono, you can connect up to 4 receivers that will receive. Of course, they have to be set, say, all to left and right, or all to left, or all to right, and 4 of you will be able to listen to the same mix, either the left, the right, or the stereo. So a single transmitter, 4 receivers. What can I say? This is definitely a very interesting product, with an extremely competitive and accessible price, especially considering the type and quality this product offers, which is truly, truly impressive. Obviously, conveying the quality of a product like this through a video is a bit difficult, but believe me, when you try these in-ears, you really notice a sound quality and a latency that's practically zero. They specify less than 5 milliseconds, which is something truly imperceptible. Great, so I'd like to thank Xvive and Mogar Italy again for sending me this beautiful item. And this summer, I'll definitely be using it in all the live shows I'm gonna do. So thanks again, Xvive, and I'll see you next time. Bye.